look at the end product and all the points and championships, but they'll forget the beginning of his career where he wasn't a great shooter. He shot air balls in the playoffs when he was just getting started with the Lakers, and he is largely a part of work ethic. He's a guy who just put in hours and hours and hours, and thousands of jump shots, and working on his game. I remember every off season he would come back and there was a new wrinkle to his game. There was something else, another layer that he had added. You know, he was obviously a phenomenal center part of those early championship teams with Shaq. But it was the ones that after Shaq departed where Kobe became the lead man that I think he really cherished more to show that he could actually lead his own team. It's just it's a stunning loss for our city and for our community and for the NBA. And you know, he's a guy that was you know, so talented. We saw him win NBA championships, and then he won an Oscar for making a short. He had such an insatiable curiosity towards the tail end of his career when he realized that he was going to branch into other areas, business, life after basketball. He went on a tour of sorts where he interviewed many of the great people in their various fields. John Williams, I know he got together with him and he kind of investigated what was behind the genius of these various people in their respective fields. And then he began his process of you know, building his brand after basketball, and by all indications, he was a smashing success. You know, he was involved in so many things with media. So it's you know, we were expecting to hear much more from Kobe. We know he was an instrumental part of getting the Lakers back into playoff form. He played a role in helping to recruit Rob Pelinka and putting Rob Pelinka with Jeannie Buss and at the time Magic Johnson. Rob Pelinka was his agent for so many years, and now Rob is obviously doing a wonderful job with the Lakers this year. But this is unimaginable. A man who's 41 years old, who's got 4 beautiful little girls, and you know, we know his older girls. She's a basketball player in her own right. Kobe would take her to the games, and he enjoyed being a father. And so it's really hard to really get your mind around the fact that Kobe Bryant has passed away.
Darren, in addition to Kobe's accomplishments on the court, we as viewers essentially got to see him grow up. And I think what is so tragic about this is we know his relationship with his children. He was a basketball coach for one of his daughters. I believe he coached the volleyball team as well. And we're sort of not going to see that chapter of his life get written. And it just adds to the tragedy of this, does it not?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
we just lost our connection to Darren Horton. But, you know, Mark, as you talk about that, you're absolutely right when you think about him as a family man. 4 daughters, Gianna, Natalia, Bianca, and his newborn, Capri, was just born in June of last year. Mm-hmm. So even if you're not a basketball, you know, fanatic, you know who Kobe Bryant was on the court. And if you live anywhere on the planet, you know what he was like off the court. And, you know, Darren just brought up the Academy Award that he won. This was in 2018. So we actually saw a different side to Kobe Bryant when he accepted that Oscar. And I remember seeing him kiss it because he was so excited. He said something about it being, you know, one of the greatest things he's ever done. And here he was, this, you know, champion on the court in basketball. And that was a really big deal for him.
If you go to Staples Center, you can see how they honor Kobe. He has a statue outside. Mm-hmm. And as you mentioned, this is a national tragedy, of course, an international one because of the global superstar that he was. But in terms of Los Angeles, he really was the face of this city. Took over from Magic Johnson, if you will. And I'm texting with friends right now. They're Lakers fans. I have one friend who is a season ticket holder for the Lakers, and they're at a loss of words. And it's tough to even come up with how to explain something like this. And so many folks thinking about his family, of course, as you mentioned. He's had a very storied career. We know that he's had 2 numbers. Both of them have been retired at Staples Center. No one has ever had that honor. And he recently brought his daughter to a game several weeks ago because of how much she loves the game.
Right, he brings her quite often.
And I think it was just so beautiful to see him sort of transition from that global superstar into the dad who's showing his daughter how to, as they call it, the Mamba mentality. He's working so hard to accomplish so much, and he's just 41 years old, 5 NBA championships, multiple MVPs, an Oscar winner. After retiring from the NBA, he started an investment fund. He started writing. He started working in entertainment. I mean, he was so much the American dream. And so many of us are going to work now to figure out what exactly led up to the moments when he was in a helicopter close to about 10 o'clock this morning. That helicopter going down in the Calabasas area just off of Las Virgenes Road, the 4200 block. Again, we do have pictures from the scene. And we do have a reporter that's heading there, and again, waiting to get some confirmation and some more information from members of the LA County Sheriff's Department. You see the live picture right there on the left side of your screen. They're setting up an impromptu, if you will, a news conference about to get underway. So hopefully we get some more information as an official comes there.
We understand that the news conference is expected to start about 2 o'clock this afternoon. So still some time before we're going to be able to get much more in terms of details. We're hoping that they will start to officially release some of this information because people are desperate to know what happened. Again, there were 5 people, we are told, there were 5 people in that helicopter, including Kobe Bryant. There are reports that his wife Vanessa was not on board, but in terms of the identities of the other people who were on that helicopter who died in that crash, those identities have not been released, so there's no confirmation at this point who else was there. We do know that there were many eyewitnesses in that area. People saw what was going on, and we also know from our time on the KTLA Weekend on the news this morning that the first responders were there very, very quickly, and I was surprised at how many emergency vehicles were lined up. There was a small brush fire that was sparked by this helicopter crash, but there was a tremendous amount of responders, the presence that we saw, and I don't know if at that moment they knew who was on board or not, but they were on scene very quickly. He was in his Sikorsky S-76 chopper, a Sikorsky S-76 chopper.
We do want to speak with someone who says that they saw the helicopter go down this morning. Her name is Jill Bailey. Jill is joining us now over the phone. Jill, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
So can you tell us where it is that you were standing? What did you see? Tell us what happened, please.
I was actually traveling northbound on the 101, and I noticed a white helicopter, and it appeared to be doing a soft landing. And I watched it because it wasn't a law enforcement helicopter, so I was kind of puzzled why it would be landing in the hills. So I didn't notice any smoke. It seemed stable, and it seemed like it was just doing a slow landing. And I watched it, and I just kept watching it, and then all of a sudden it disappeared. And apparently, I don't know if it hit a hill or rolled, or I'm not sure what exactly happened.
Was there something that caused you to look up? Did you hear a noise? Is there anything that caused you to realize that there was some sort of trouble?
Well, it was flying very low, and you could tell that it was going to land, and so it caught my eye, and also the fact that it wasn't a law enforcement helicopter. I was puzzled why it would be landing in that area.
What were the weather conditions like? It's been foggy this weekend. Was it foggy at the time?
It was overcast.
And I'm imagining you're someone who lives in the area, or at least in California. Can you just talk on a personal note? I'm assuming you've never met Kobe Bryant before, but you certainly know who he is. What was your reaction when you found out that one of the 5 victims in that fatal crash was one of the greatest basketball players ever?
I'm in shock. I mean, I can't believe that I actually saw this helicopter going down. I feel horrible. He has a gym that's in Newberry Park, and so I assume that he was traveling back to Newport Beach.
Can you talk about anybody else that was in that vicinity? Did you see? We mentioned before that there was a huge response by first responders on scene very, very quickly. What was going on where you were? Were other people talking about it? Were people trying to get to the scene? Can you describe the situation?
Actually, I didn't see the accident. I kept driving, so I wasn't there. I found out about an hour later that it was Kobe Bryant and that the helicopter had actually crashed.
Well, Jill, we appreciate you being willing to talk with us and let us know what you saw. Certainly, it's a terrible story, but again, so many people are desperate for information. So we appreciate your perspective of what you saw this morning.
You know,